Minutes before walking down the aisle, my husband's parent handed him a plane ticket and whispered, "Last chance to escape." He froze, glancing at me while they smiled. "She'll never love you like I do." As my heart pounded, he looked at the ticket, then at me, and said something that left everyone in shock. "My name is Rachel. I'm 29, I live in New York, and I thought I was about to marry the love of my life, Aaron. Aaron and I met 5 years ago. We were a good match, same sense of humor, same life goals, same love for late-night pizza. We worked hard for everything we had. I was in publishing, he was in finance, and together, we built a solid foundation. The problem? Aaron's parents. His mother, Diane, hated me from day one. She thought I wasn't good enough for her son. I didn't come from money, I didn't go to an Ivy League school, and I didn't grow up summering in the Hamptons. And Diane? She was the kind of woman who judged people based on last names, bank accounts, and bloodlines. His father, Robert, was spineless. He never challenged Diane. Never stood up to her. Just nodded and went along with whatever manipulative scheme she cooked up. But Aaron loved me. And he chose me. At least, that's what I thought. The morning of the wedding was beautiful. The venue, a gorgeous estate outside the city, was glowing under the sunlight. My dress was perfect, my family was there, and I was ready to walk down the aisle. Everything was perfect. Then, minutes before the ceremony, Aaron's parents pulled him aside. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe they wanted a private moment with him. Maybe they wanted to wish him well. I was so wrong. A few minutes later, my maid of honor, Lucy, stormed into the bridal suite. Her face was pale. "You need to come. Right now." My heart dropped. "What happened?" I asked. She grabbed my hand. "Just come." I followed her down the hall, my pulse pounding in my ears. And then I saw it. Aaron was standing with his parents. His face was blank. His hands were shaking. And in his hand? A plane ticket. One way. To London. Diane was smiling. "It's your last chance, honey. You don't have to do this." Robert nodded. "She'll never love you like we do." I couldn't breathe. I stood there, frozen, watching the man I was about to marry decide whether or not to leave me. The entire world stopped. Aaron looked at the ticket. Then he looked at me. Then back at the ticket. Then at me again. And then, he spoke. For a second, I thought he was going to take it. For a second, I thought my entire life was about to fall apart in front of me. And then, he laughed. A full, deep, relieved laugh. And he tore the ticket in half. Diane's face dropped. Aaron's voice was sharp. "Are you out of your mind?" His mother stiffened. "We're trying to help you." "No," he snapped. "You're trying to control me. And I'm done letting you." Robert stepped forward. "Son, listen." Aaron didn't let him finish. "No. I'm done listening. I love Rachel. I'm marrying Rachel. And if you can't support that, then leave." Silence. Diane's lips thinned. "You're making a mistake." Aaron turned to me. His voice softened. "You ready to get married?" I nodded, my heart hammering. He smiled. "Then let's do this." I took his hand. And then? Diane played her final card. They didn't leave. Oh no. They stayed. They sat through the vows, the rings, the first kiss, the photos. They smiled through gritted teeth. And then? Then they waited until the reception to make their next move. While I was greeting guests, Diane grabbed the microphone. Oh yeah, she pulled that classic move. She smiled sweetly. "I'd like to say a few words." The room quieted. She raised her glass. "To my son." Aaron tensed beside me. She continued. "Aaron, I hope you enjoy this marriage." "I really do." "Because we won't be funding it." The air sucked out of the room. I froze. Diane's smile was razor sharp. Robert added, "If you ever need help, son, you know where to find us." Translation? "You're cut off. And you'll come crawling back." Aaron didn't even blink. "Good," he said. "Now we don't owe you anything." The room erupted into whispers. Diane's face twisted. And then? I stepped in. I walked to the mic. I smiled. "Diane, thank you for your kind words." The guests went silent. Diane's expression flickered. I continued. "But I'd like to say something too." I turned to Aaron. "Aaron, I want to thank you. Not just for choosing me today, but for finally breaking free from the toxic, manipulative hold your parents have on you." A ripple went through the room. Diane's eyes went wide. I looked at her. "You don't need their money. You don't need their approval. And you sure as hell don't need their poison at our wedding." I handed the mic back to the DJ. "Diane?" She turned white as a sheet. And then? She stormed out. Aaron kissed me. The crowd cheered. And that was the moment I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Diane stormed out. Robert followed, face pale, looking like he'd just swallowed a glass of poison. For a moment, the reception was completely silent. And then? Applause. Actual cheering. I turned, heart pounding, and saw my family beaming. My friends clapping. People murmuring words like, finally, and about damn time. Aaron's grip on my hand tightened. He leaned close, whispering, are you okay? I nodded. Are you? He let out a breath, like he'd been holding it in for years. Better than ever. I believed him. But what I didn't know was that Diane wasn't done. Not even close. After the reception, Aaron and I went back to our hotel suite. We were supposed to be flying out to Italy for our honeymoon the next morning, and I was exhausted. The moment we walked in, Aaron sighed and loosened his tie. I still can't believe she pulled that stunt. She's not coming back from that, I said. I was wrong. Because just then, his phone buzzed. And what he saw made his entire face go blank. What? I asked. He turned the screen toward me. A text message. From Diane. Check the news. My stomach dropped. Aaron opened his news app. And there it was. A headline with a picture of me and Aaron from our wedding. But the words underneath? Social climber traps wealthy groom, disowned by family on wedding day. I felt sick. She went to the press, I whispered. Aaron's jaw clenched. I grabbed his phone and scrolled through the article. It was full of lies. It painted Aaron as the golden boy from a prominent family, and me as some desperate nobody who schemed my way into marriage to get his wealth. And the worst part? It ended with a direct quote from Diane. We tried to warn him, but he wouldn't listen. We only hope he realizes his mistake before it's too late. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. Aaron read the whole thing in silence. Then he stood up, grabbed his phone, and walked to the door. Where are you going? I asked. His voice was cold. I'm going to fix this. And with that, he walked out. I didn't sleep. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, waiting. Aaron came back at 3 a.m. His tie was gone, his shirt was wrinkled, and his hands were clenched into fists. What happened? I asked, sitting up. He hesitated. Aaron, I said, my voice sharp. Tell me. He sat down on the edge of the bed. I went to see them. I swallowed. And? His hands tightened. They wouldn't take it down. Of course they wouldn't. They said it's their public statement. His voice was bitter. That it's their side of the story and they have every right to tell it. I felt like screaming. They're trying to ruin us, I whispered. Aaron shook his head. No, they're trying to break us up. I sucked in a breath. And then? Then he told me the worst part. I went to my parents' house. I was ready to cut them off completely. I nodded. Good. He looked away. That's when my dad said it. I could see it in his eyes, the thing that was breaking him. What did he say? Aaron swallowed. He looked down. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, she's been lying to you. The words made my stomach twist. Who? I asked. Me? He nodded. I stared at him. Aaron, that's what they want you to think. That's their game. His hands curled into fists. I know. But, he sighed, looking down. They said they have proof. I went completely still. What kind of proof? Aaron hesitated. Then he pulled out his phone, opened his email, and handed it to me. I took it, my hands shaking. And when I saw what was on the screen, my entire world shattered. I stared at Aaron's phone, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. On the screen was an email from his mother. There were attachments. And the subject line? The truth about Rachel. I looked at him, my stomach twisting into knots. Did you open this? Aaron hesitated. Not yet. I exhaled slowly. Do you believe them? His jaw clenched. I don't know. That hurt. It hurt more than anything. Because after everything we had been through, after all the ways his parents had manipulated him, the fact that even a small part of him thought this might be real, that shattered me. But I needed to know. So I clicked the email. And I started reading. The email was long. Overly dramatic. Full of words like concerned and heartbroken and betrayed. But then came the real hit. Bank statements. Phone records. Screenshots. The first attachment was a transaction history. There were multiple large deposits made into my account over the past year. Amounts that looked bad. Amounts I never received. I felt my stomach drop. Aaron, this is fake. He nodded slowly. I know. But keep reading. I swiped to the next page. It was a list of phone calls. From my number. To his father. I blinked. What the hell is this? His voice was tight. They're saying you've been calling my dad for months behind my back. I laughed. Actually laughed. Aaron, I know, he cut in. But my mother swears she is proof. I swiped again. Screenshots of text messages. From me. Except, I had never sent them. They were messages saying things like, we need to be careful, and Aaron can't know yet. I felt like I was going to throw up. They faked all of this, I whispered. Aaron nodded. That's what I told them. But my mom, he ran a hand through his hair. She said they hired a private investigator. I snapped my head up. What? They claim they have surveillance of you meeting my dad. That they saw you together. I blinked. Then, suddenly, it clicked. Memories came rushing back. 2 months ago, I had gone to a coffee shop near my office. I had been sitting outside when a man, an older man, in a suit, approached me. I hadn't thought anything of it. He asked me for directions. Then he thanked me, sat at a nearby table, and took a phone call. Could they have staged that? Could they have made it look like we were meeting? My blood ran cold. I turned to Aaron. Think about it. Your father never speaks up. He always lets Diane do the dirty work. So why would he suddenly be the one accusing me of something? Aaron exhaled. Because she needed it to come from him. Exactly. I clenched my fists. And now she's got you doubting me. He shook his head. I'm not doubting you. But he looked wrecked. And that's when I realized this was her goal. Not to make Aaron leave me, but to plant a seed of doubt. To make him wonder. To let the idea sit in his head like a slow-burning poison. Diane didn't need to break us up today. She just needed to start the fire. We sat there in silence for a long time. Then, at exactly 4:12 a.m., there was a knock at the door. Aaron and I both froze. I glanced at him. Were you expecting someone? He shook his head. I got up, my hands shaking, and looked through the peephole. My heart stopped. Standing in the hallway was Robert, Aaron's father. Alone. I turned to Aaron. It's your dad. His whole face darkened. He stood up, walked over, and opened the door. Robert stepped inside, looking more exhausted than I had ever seen him. His suit was rumpled, his tie was loose, and he had dark circles under his eyes. Son, he said quietly. Aaron's voice was ice. What do you want? Robert sighed. Then, in a voice so soft I almost missed it, he said, you need to leave. Now. The air shifted. Aaron's shoulders tensed. Excuse me? Robert glanced behind him, like he was checking for someone. Then he shut the door and locked it. I felt an icy chill crawl up my spine. Robert turned to Aaron. Your mother is going to ruin you. Aaron laughed. She already tried. Robert shook his head. No. That was just the beginning. Aaron frowned. What the hell are you talking about? Robert exhaled. He looked down at the floor, ashamed. Then he said something that changed everything. She hired someone. Silence. Aaron blinked. What? Robert looked up, his expression grim. Your mother hired someone to follow Rachel. To dig up dirt. And when they couldn't find any, he swallowed. They created it. My stomach flipped. Aaron's hands clenched into fists. She set her up, Robert continued. She paid someone to fake everything. The bank records. The calls. The surveillance. I felt sick. Aaron's whole body went rigid. Why are you telling us this? Robert hesitated. Then he said, because I think she's planning something worse. And that's when we heard it. The sound of someone unlocking the door from the outside. Aaron moved first. He grabbed me, yanking me behind him. The door swung open. And standing there? Diane. Her face was calm. Too calm. She looked directly at me. And she smiled. Time's up. Diane stepped into the room like she owned it, her heels clicking against the floor with an air of finality. She barely glanced at Robert, who stood stiffly near the door. Her focus? Me. She tilted her head, studying me like I was an insect under a microscope. Rachel, she said smoothly, I was hoping we could talk privately. Aaron laughed. It wasn't amused. It was bitter. You want to talk privately? His voice was sharp. After you tried to destroy her reputation? Diane didn't flinch. You'll understand soon, sweetheart. Sweetheart. I clenched my fists. Get out. She ignored me. Instead, she turned to Aaron, her expression softening in a way that made my skin crawl. I did this for you, honey. Aaron snapped. You did this for yourself, Mom. You faked bank records, paid people to follow Rachel, and tried to turn me against her because you couldn't control me anymore. Diane let out a slow sigh, like she was disappointed but not surprised. You're being dramatic. Aaron ran a hand through his hair, laughing darkly. Dramatic? You just broke into our room in the middle of the night. She waved a hand. I used my spare key. That was it. Aaron lost it. You know what? You've spent my whole life making decisions for me. Who I date, where I go, what I do. And for a long time, I let you. But this... He gestured wildly. This is insane. For the first time, Diane's face cracked. Her jaw tensed. Her voice was low. I was protecting you. I stepped forward, my body shaking. Protecting him from what? Her eyes snapped to me, and there was pure hatred behind them. From you. And then she turned to Aaron. She's been lying to you since the beginning. Aaron scoffed. Oh, here we go. I have proof, she insisted. I laughed. You mean the fake bank statements? The fake phone records? Her lips curled into a smirk. Oh no, dear. The real ones. The room froze. And then, slowly, she reached into her purse. She pulled out a folder and dropped it on the table. I stared at it, my hands cold. Aaron swallowed. What is this? Diane crossed her arms. Go ahead. Open it. Aaron hesitated. Then, slowly, he flipped it open. His entire body stiffened. My heart pounded. Aaron. He didn't look at me. He just turned pale. Then, in an eerie, quiet voice, he said, Rachel, what is this? I stepped forward, my throat tight. I looked down at the papers, and my entire world stopped. There, staring back at me, my old marriage license. The one I had never told him about. I felt numb. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Aaron finally turned to me. His eyes were a mix of confusion, hurt, and something else. Rachel, his voice cracked. You were married? I swallowed hard. Yes. The room was silent. Aaron's chest rose and fell, his hands tightening around the papers. When were you going to tell me? I looked at him, panic rising. Diane laughed. Oh, sweetheart. She wasn't going to tell you. She was just hoping it would go away. I turned to her, anger bubbling up through my fear. How did you even find this? She smirked. Money opens doors, dear. I clenched my fists. You had no right. I had every right, she snapped. You were lying to my son. Aaron ran a hand through his hair, his eyes wide. Rachel, just tell me. Why didn't you tell me? I inhaled sharply. Because it didn't matter. Aaron's expression darkened. It matters. I felt my throat close up. I was young, I said quickly. It was a mistake. It ended fast, and it was never serious. I never even think about it anymore. Aaron's face was unreadable. Does he know? I froze. Does who know? Aaron held up the papers. Your ex. Does he know you got remarried? The room went dead quiet. I stared at him, my pulse hammering. And that's when I realized I had never filed for a formal annulment. Diane beamed. There it is, she whispered. Aaron took a step back, rubbing his temple. Rachel, tell me you fixed this. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had assumed it was over. The divorce was quick, the paperwork had been signed. But had I ever followed up? Had I ever actually made sure the records were updated? I had no answer, which meant Aaron had his. He exhaled shakily, nodding to himself. Right. I panicked. Aaron, but he stepped back. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time since we got married. And what I saw on his face, it broke me. Hurt. Betrayal. Disbelief. I need time, he murmured. I shook my head quickly. No, we can, but he had already turned away. Diane smirked. I told you, she whispered. Aaron grabbed his coat. Then, without another word, he walked out. I watched him go, my heart shattering. And Diane? She smiled. Because she had won. Aaron didn't come home that night. Or the next night. For the first time in 5 years, I felt completely alone. Diane had played the long game. And she had played it well. But here's the thing about people like Diane. They always overplay their hand. And she had one fatal weakness. Her own husband. Because Robert? The man she had controlled for decades? He was done. And 2 weeks later, he showed up at my door. With the evidence that would destroy her. Robert handed me a USB drive. Diane has been hiding something, he said. And I think it's time you use it. I stared at him. Why are you helping me? His lips pressed into a thin line. Because I lost my son. And I want to make things right. I took the drive. Plugged it in. And when I saw what was on it, I knew exactly how to end this.